want to just say thank you to the team for putting everything together, and thank you for serving. It's been a great day so far, but ooh, a bit nervous. I haven't really prepared anything, but I'm gonna just go with the flow. Like God's come with me, but I just want to open up with a Bible verse, Psalms 23, a bit what Adam touched on today, and a bit what was covered. But I'm reading from the NIV version, and it is, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." So that Bible verse just really just shows about me, because you're never alone. God is with you. And I just want to share a bit about my journey, and a bit about how I got into Alpha course as well. I grew up in church, but I didn't really have that relationship with God. So as a young child, my dad was a minister, but didn't really show his how he was at home was not how he was in church. So I had a very negative outview of church itself. So growing up, I was not interested, and behind closed doors, I was going through a lot at home. So my whole relationship with God was a bit rocky, but God was still with me. Those moments where I was crying a lot as a child, Jesus was there with me in all those moments. So fast forward, I was getting ready to go to uni, and that's in Manchester. So I'm originally from Birmingham, you probably can tell by my accent. So I'm a Brummie, and I was moving to Manchester, and I actually, someone invited me to go to Audacious Church, but during that time I was just not interested. My whole relationship with God just was not there, and I just didn't really care. So I joined for a bit, and then I just went off and did my own thing and allowed myself to just go out partying, at clubbing life in uni. You just want to live your life, and you get to a point in life where you're just like, what is next? So you're like, okay, I'm partying every week, I'm drinking every week, drunk every week, but what am I actually getting from it? So fast forward, during that time, I was just in a really dark, depressed state, especially during the pandemic. I just sort of distanced myself from the world. I was going through a lot. I went through a traumatic experience during that time, and I didn't want to know about anything about God. I didn't care. I just wanted to live life on my own means, but I was just still lost. And I was praying. There was a moment where I was just praying. I was like, God, I don't know. I know that you want me to go back to church, but what can I do? I just feel so lost, and I was just living my life, but I was like, God, I need you. But so fast forward, I was going to uni, and there's some people from a different church. This was not Audacious, this was a different church. And then it turns out it was a church cult, so I was kind of involved in a church cult before I actually got back to church. And I was in a place where I was just like, you know what, this is it. I'm never going back to church. I was like, church people are crazy, they're weird, scary. I said, no, I'm never coming back to church. I was like, that's it, no, I'm done. But then I was praying, I was like, God, I really want to find a place, because my whole life I never felt like I belonged anywhere. I went to this church, that church, and I didn't really felt like I actually belonged anywhere. I was like, God, I really want to belong somewhere, but I'm so scared. So I'm scared of people. I'm scared that someone's going to hurt me or anything. I was like, God, I'm just not interested. So I made in my mind that I'm just going to live life alone. But God doesn't want us to live life and do life alone. He doesn't want us to be alone, but we amongst our brothers and sisters. But my friend over there, Pearl, we went to uni together. She's over there. We went to uni together, and she was the one that sort of reached out to me and was like, why don't you come to church? And I was just like, no, because I had a bad experience with church. There's no chance you're catching me in church. And she was like, but just come, you're going to be with me, you're not going to be alone. And I was like, no. So I think a few weeks went by, she kept on messaging me, and she was like, Davina, do you want to come to church with me? You're going to be with me? I was like, you know what, because you keep bothering me. So, I'm like, I'm just going to go, because what kind of miss out? I'm just like, for her to just stop texting me, I'm just like, yeah, I'll just go to church. So then I was like, okay, I went to church, and when I stepped foot in Audacious, I was like, oh, this is church. All my bad experiences, I was like, oh, this is how it is. It's just like a big family. Everyone's just so lovey-dovey, and the team was just welcoming. So I was like, okay, I'll come again. I'll come back again next week. And then I remember Pearl, you're serving new to faith, so Pearl would be in the connections, and I used to just stand there. So I think Adam and Jason used to see me, and they were like, "You're right." I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting for my friend." I'm just standing there in the corner. Like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting for my friend over there." That's it. And I'm like, "Do you want to come home?" I'm just like, "No, I'm just waiting for my friend." That's it. And then each week I'll just be standing there in the connections lounge, and I'll be like, "You're right, Davine." I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting for my friend." And then I think a few weeks after, you were taught, Adam and James, who mentioned Alpha Course, and I was like, I'm not joining Alpha Course. I said, I'm not interested. I don't want to be indoctrinated by church people again. I was like, no. And then Pearl was like, were you going to be with me? And I was like, oh, okay, if you're going to be on there, I might as well try. So I was like, okay. She was like, you're going to be on with me. So I was like, make sure I'm on the same team as you, because if not, I'm gone. So then I joined the Alpha Course, and then I used to just sit in the, like, it was online, and I used to just sit in the corner, like, Davina, you there? I'm just like, yeah. I didn't want to speak. Yeah, in the shadow. You remember? Yes, I used to just sit there, and I'm just like, yeah. I would just listen to everyone's testimonies, and it really encouraged me. But at the same time, I didn't want to speak, so they would ask for my participation. I'm just like, no. But slowly but surely, I started to speak, because at that time I didn't like to speak to anyone. I used to just sit at the back of church, and as soon as church be done, I'm out the doors. I'm like, I don't want to speak to anyone. I'm thinking church people are crazy. But slowly but surely, I was like, oh, these people are actually nice. Their testimony sort of like helped me when I was, during that time, that moment, I really needed to hear those testimonies. I really needed to be surrounded by a family, people in church, because during that time, I was having all sorts of negative thoughts. I was scared about God, scared about the Holy Spirit. I was in fear of my life. I had no confidence during that time. I was just scared. I was just scared of people. And I that time was like one of the darkest moments of my life, but I felt like everyone was holding my hand during that time, during the Alpha Course. And during, I think the second wave, I was like, okay, I'll join the second wave. And then during that time, that's when I started to speak again. And I remember Julie used to be there, like, pray for me, and she would encourage me each week. And then I was like, okay, I actually like this church. I actually like Alpha Course. I actually like it. And I started to understand the love that God had for me, and also the plans that He had for my life. At times of my life, I thought, what is the point of life? I used to question my whole existence. Why, God? Why did I go through what I went through during my life? I used to have like suicidal thoughts. I'm like, you know what, God, I don't want to be here. Like, I used to pray, I'm like, God, why am I still here on earth? What is the purpose of life? Why? And I used to just question my whys all the time, but slowly during the Alpha Course, God was answering the whys that I had, all the questions, all the doubts. God answered them, and it made me realize that God actually had a purpose for my life. When I used to be shy or used to be quiet in the corner and I had no confidence in myself, God would just put people in my life that really spoke life into me. I really prayed and encouraged me on my journey. It really helped me on my walk. So then slowly but surely I decided, you know what, I want to take this decision, and I got baptized. I was baptized as a child, but I didn't really understand baptism. And then Jane, soon you encouraged me to finally make that decision as well. And it was something that was wondering in my mind. I was like, should I get baptized again? I've already been baptized as a child, but I didn't understand. And then as an adult now, I fully understand why I should get baptized. So I just made that decision, and we got baptized in a river. It was in the YA, we did a river baptism. And that right there was just like, the next point in my journey where I'm like, you know what, God, I'm really just gonna keep walking and hold my head up high. And now I serve on not only the New to Faith team, but I serve in YA, serving the prayer team as well. And it was the people around me it was the people in the Alpha course that really spoke life into me. Like each and every person that was on each wave, the words that you spoke really helped to transform the way I thought about myself, the way I looked about myself, and the way how my outlook on Christianity, my outlook on Jesus, my outlook on all aspects of life. I was in a confused state. I was in darkness. I was just lost. But then everyone held my hand and walked with me along the way. And I never felt alone. There's been times where I've been crying. I'm like, Jason, help me. And she'd be there holding my hand and praying with me, encouraging me. Times where I had doubts, they encouraged me. So, yeah, that's just it.